This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Hello and welcome to another edition of C2C Rankem. I'm the host, Big B, followed with my co-host here, halfway across the world, for Primus, Tim Hendricks. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. I'm for some reason I seem like I'm cutting in or out. I don't know if you can figure it out if it's me or if it's somebody else, but I'm doing good.
Right now you're doing okay. So
I'm doing okay now. The wife this morning had her wisdom tooth taken out. She went to work like a trooper. Other than that, you and I've had quite a couple weeks here missing the show. So
yeah, exactly. So life happens. So all right. So with that being said, yeah, Tim might be a little bit of a delay. So, but we'll make it through. We always do. So this week, we got famous people's names. I think we've done a show like this before where we say a name and, you know, the first thing that comes to mind, I mean, granted, we made a list. So, so let's start with women's names that are famous people with Anne.
Anne, you went that
so
way.
This will be kind of interesting. I was kind of struggling a little bit. You get to start. I'm gonna go with one. I think we'll get one out of this group.
Ooh, one. I was hoping on two, but we're gonna give it a shot, I guess.
Okay.
I like two, but I think we're going to be stretching, I guess.
I could see two, but I don't. I don't know. I think one will be the safe one here.
Yeah. All right, my number 5. I went into the music world, and you're thinking, boy,
Okay.
you went early. You went early on that one, and no, I didn't. Is a lead singer of a famous band from the 70s and 80s. Her daughter is actually, I think 2 of her daughters are actually in the band, in the group Wilson Phillips. I think she's got one of the, I think beyond somebody else who's going to be on this list, I think has a better, is on in one of our other lists. I think it actually has a better female voice, but when it comes to me, female rock bands, I think this is probably the best. And when Hart does the song Barracuda, you actually hear such an amazing voice. I'm talking about Carney Wilson's mother. My number 5 is Ann Wilson.
Okay. I'm going to go to actress. One of, I guess if I was younger than her, I guess she'd be my, famous celebrity crush or whatever, because she is a beautiful woman. I think her acting skills, not the greatest, but you know what? The roles I've seen her in, she's done, fairly well in them. And that's Anne Hathaway.
Wow, she's number 5 for you. Ooh. Okay. I feel terrible now. I feel, and the funny thing is, Anne Hathaway is it's a great name. As the fact is, it's the same name as William Shakespeare's like love interest back in the day was the same person. It was the same name. So I thought that was hilarious that Anne Hathaway has that same name. But my number 4, it's kind of interesting because my number 4 is also in the acting world. But you and I grew up at a time where we would go home after school, and there was like a couple shows on, and my this show had a very famous theme song that, you know, if you sang it, everybody kind of knew it. And then they did a couple movies. They did a couple remake movies later on. But my number 4 is the maid from this TV series. She's the one that played Alice in Brady Bunch. My number 4 is Ann B. Davis.
Okay. Gotcha. No, that's a good one. Very good one. And everybody can have an Alice. That'd be nice. All right, my number 4. You know, I thought I made a note of why I put it on the list, but I can't remember now. Maybe it's because I know the name for somewhere, but Anne Southern. So
I have no clue.
yeah, she was on one of the lists. I'm like, oh, the name kind of jumped out at me, you know. But all right, you're number 3.
My number 3, I was told if I did not put her on the list, I was having the divorce papers sent my way, really, really, really quick. It's not a relative of mine, so I'm safe in that aspect. And I found out that she is actually, you know, there's a female version of being knighted in London, in England, right?
Okay.
And I found out today, matter of fact, which I thought was really strange, is the fact is that she is a dame. But most people remember her for one song that was ended up being remade by Marilyn Manson.
Okay.
Everybody remembers her time with the Eurythmics, and she had done this song called Sweet Dreams, which was then remade by Marilyn Manson.
Okay.
My number 3 is the lead singer of the Eurythmics, Annie Lennox.
Oh, I just see her out there. Yeah. Okay. All right, my number 3. When she was in her prime or getting into tennis, she was supposed to be the next big thing in come tennis, and then I think after that, I think the Williams sisters kind of took her flow away, and I think maybe injuries cost her some tournaments. But that's Anna. No, I can't even pronounce her name. Nikoltovic. I know I just butchered her last name.
Not really. I don't know who she is. You didn't kill anything.
Yeah, no, I know of her. So, all right, you're number 2.
I was going to think you're talking about Anna Kournikova, but then I'm thinking
Kournikova. Yes, you are right. No, you are right. I could not pronounce that name.
I'm like, holy crap!
I'm looking at it. I'm like,
Anna Kournikova.
Yeah.
I almost. Here's the sad thing: is I went to school with an Anna too,
Okay.
but I didn't put her on my list, which is really, really, really strange. I'm going with an author of horror books. Matter of fact, I actually follow her. Well, she passed away last year, but I follow her. Her kids take care of her Twitter page and her Facebook page now. So I still follow the page. But she was a huge horror film or horror writer. You know, if you don't say that properly, you sound like you're talking about porn. She wrote scary novels. But I believe she wrote Interview with a Vampire.
Okay.
My number 2 is Anne Rice.
Okay. All right. My top 2 are going to be a little controversial.
Your number 5 was already controversial. Forget number 2.
This one's going to be a little bit more controversial.
Oh, this is the one I went to
because
school
we
with,
know
right?
this person as a different first name. But when I
God, you did
Googled
go
it,
that
it
way.
brought her up.
Oh my God, you went that way.
Um,
Are you,
my number 2 is, we know her as Betty Ford, but her real name is Ann Ford.
yeah, I already know who your number 1 is. I already know it.
Oh, all right. Go with your number.
My number 1.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of gave it away when you decided to put your number 5. We haven't said this in 2 weeks. I almost can't get it out of my mouth.
Yeah.
It's the
But
phrase that
me,
pays.
huh? Or I sniped you?
It's the phrase that pays. It's not C2C unless you're sniping. Your number 5 is my number 1. She played Catwoman. I think she is the second best Catwoman ever.
Well, I got to see that. I haven't seen her play
Catwoman.
Catwoman.
She played Catwoman in the Dark Knight Return, in the Dark Knight Rises, the third Christopher Nolan Batman.
Okay.
I would get in trouble for that one. Even my wife told me to put her on this list.
There you go. All right. So, Tim, you think you got my number 1? Who's my number 1?
Cyndi Lauper.
Yes, it is. And the thing is, when she popped up, I'm like, wait, I said Ann, and then I looked into it. I'm like, really? Her real name's Ann. I was just like, okay. So, yes, Ann Cyndi Lauper is my number 1.
I did not put it on. I'm like, you really put it on. You.
Well, got our 1, or got my 1, I guess.
You got your 1. If I had put Cyndi Lauper on there like I should have, we would have been 2.
Yeah. All right.
So let's Betty Ford. And the thing is, I saw Betty Ford too, and I went, no. No.
Yeah. All right. So let's go into Steve's or Stevens here.
Oh God.
This one we could have done, I think, a lot on.
I could have gone. I could still be. I finished this list last Monday. I could still be writing Stevens down.
Yeah. So it's this one and another name I think we could be writing quite a few on. I'm God, there's so many. Which way did we go here? I'm going to say 3, and I doubled up on 1.
I didn't double up on any, but I'll go 3. I like 3.
All right. So I get to start. So
yeah.
All right. So this guy that I have at number 5, crazy SOB for what he does or did. His kids now have gone into it, but not as aggressive as he does, I think, as of now. I think they're in their mid-teens now, maybe early 20s. But to give this guy props on what he did, and I guess dying doing what you love to do, and sad to say, and that's Stephen Irwin.
I like that one. I like that one. My number 5. Since I kind of brought up horror film type, horror movie, horror authors and other things. I have a Stephen as my number 5, as I do in my number 4, 3, and 2, and 1. I thought this was the first, and the funny thing is, this is like the first one of the first 3 that came to my mind. This is one you have to go to I know for like Anne, I had to go to a website just to figure out who Anne's were. Stephen, I don't even think I had to look. But most of everybody remembers my number 5 for a lot of the stuff he's done. He's getting into the political realm and on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. But I think most of his better work has been put under his pen name. I'm still waiting for The Long Walk. If anybody in Hollywood's getting an idea of what they should really do, they should really think about The Long Walk, which is actually a short story written by my number 5 under the pen name of Richard Bachman. And I really wish that they would actually do the correct version of The Running Man. Everybody remembers my number 5 for books and movies like It, The Green Mile, Shawshank Redemption, Cujo, Pet Sematary. the lists and names go on and on. I hear that next thing they're doing is For the Love of Tom Gordon, which I think would be brilliant. My number 5, I said before, was under the pen name of Richard Bachman, but he goes by Stephen King.
Yeah, like I said, we could have done a lot of Stevens or Steve. So my number 4, we're in the heart of the basketball playoffs. So got to throw a basketball guy on there.
Steven Jackson.
Yeah, yeah. But no, and it's not Steve Kerr too. To anybody that's watching, even though that would have been a good one, I could have doubled up on him. But to me, one of the game's best passers in recent years. When he came in, I mean, he just dominated in the passing game. And actually, somebody what game was I watching that just had a ridiculous turnaround behind the back pass to was it the Knicks? I can't remember. I know somebody's going to watch the clip and know what I'm talking about. But I'm going with Steven Nash.
Steven
Nash.
Yeah, good soccer player that turned into a basketball player from Canada.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. All right, you're number 4.
My number 4, probably one of the most brilliant minds to live while we were alive. Like we're dead. While we are alive, passed away not too long ago. To absolutely be to have the mind that he has had, to come up with some of the stuff that he's come up with and being proven right, absolutely amazing. Has had his shares of cameos on stuff like The Big Bang Theory. I don't care what he's done in his off time. But my number 4 is Stephen Hawking.
Yeah, when you said Big Bang Theory, I knew exactly where you're going. So my number 3, we're going to go into the wrestling ring where my double up is. They both had big impacts on both of their promotions that they were in. Actually, one guy was in the same promotion, but just didn't get the notoriety that he probably should have. And then he goes to ECW and just lights up promotions, and everybody knows who he is now. So my first one is the one and only Stone Cold Steve Austin. And the other guy we know as Sting, Stephen Barton.
Steve Borden.
Morton.
You could have added a third one on there.
Wow. Oh yeah, Steve McMichael.
Steve Williams. Steve Williams.
Yep.
Because the funny thing is, your double up could have been a whole lot better because a
whole lot better.
it could have had a bigger link because Steve Austin, when he went into the WCW, when he went into Mid-South, was it?
Yeah.
They told him that he had to change his name because he was going into Mid-South as Steve Williams.
Yep. Yeah.
And you had Dr. Death Steve Williams.
Yep. So, all right.
When you brought up basketball, I thought you were going this way. Has probably he's starting to become one of the top. I'm a little preferential to Ray Allen and Reggie Miller. That's me. Granted, yeah, Allen was a buck for a while, so yeah, I'm gonna be a little preferential meeting the guy, having the autograph. So yeah, I'm a little preferential, and he's only 3 days younger than me.
Yep.
So we'll go that way. But has carved himself a name in NBA history with the Golden State Warriors. I realize that as everybody's like, oh, everybody calls him Steph, but his name is Stephen Curry.
Yep. Yeah, the guy that's changed the game with the shooting. I mean, and even practicing. I mean, I've seen some of his pregame warm-ups and stuff, and he's just
crazy.
Yeah, exactly. All right, my number 2, a funny guy. I actually met this guy at my job. I was out doing valet parking for our concert that he was at. And I say met him because he drove by, rolled down his window and said, "Hey, thanks for the job you guys are doing." But I don't think I've missed many movies that this guy has acted in. And that's Steve Martin.
Again, this is one I think we could go over 5. Honestly, we could go over 5.
Well, if you don't got my number 1 in the next 2, we do.
Holy smokes!
All right, you're number 2.
My number 2, we're going. This is another one I could have had like 8. I could have doubled up again on this.
Oh yeah, we could have doubled up quite a bit.
I could have doubled up on all 5 at this point. I'm going to the music world, and everybody knows about this band. They're originally from Boston, but nobody ever knows about that unless they've known about them since the 70s. It's a band that wasn't big in the 70s, but all of a sudden the lead singer changes his voice, and all of a sudden dude looks like a lady, becomes hit because his voice has changed. And now
really?
He's singing in the higher register instead. It was, yeah. If you look at listen to Dream On. This was like 78.
Okay.
And it's everything's in the lower register, but all of a sudden he changes his voice, goes into that screeching voice, and all of a sudden he's superstar, and he gets back in, and his band becomes really big after they do a duet with Run DMC and Walk This Way. My number 2 is the frontman of Aerosmith, Steven Tyler.
Yep, and you still gotta go check out that country song that he did.
Oh God, why? It's like Beyonce doing country. Come on.
Actually, that Beyonce song is actually pretty cool.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, my number 1, another funny guy. You know, we actually got the same barber. I mean, he might have his professionally done by a barber, but you know, he's on Family Feud. He's had many different shows. You know, probably one of the coolest dudes that I would love to meet. I just think he's laid back and, you know, would just like to sit and just talk. And that's one, Steve Harvey.
Yep, we're going 0 for 5.
It's been a while since we've done 0 for 5.
This one is an easy one to go 0 for 5 because there's people left and right.
Yep.
Well, my number 5, a director of movies, huge movies. We don't get a lot of the movies that we've had. If it weren't for my number 5, we don't get Jaws in 1975. We don't get Close Encounters of the Third Kind. We don't get E.T. We don't get Jurassic Park. We don't get Indiana Jones, any of them. Well, any of the good ones, the 3 good ones. We just don't get anything, and find out. And then he does a cameo in one of the Austin Power movies. But if you get a chance to watch The Fabelmans, it's a movie that came out 3 years ago, which is a movie that's based off of his life when he was growing up. My number 1 is Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised you didn't double up on those, him and Stephen King. I thought for sure you would have.
Yeah. I had like Steve Young. I had Steve. Steve.
There was a lot.
I had Urkel at one point on my list. I'm like,
oh yeah,
it was a tough one.
Yeah, you know, and I was trying to think of a TV character. I'm like, God, who could I just throw a curveball? You know, I forgot even the Urkel. I'm like, God dang it. You know, so all right. So let's move back to the female side. We're gonna go, you know, with Linda. Famous Linda. This was another tough one. No, my wife's not on here. So just
my mom isn't. Just so everybody knows, my mom isn't on this list either. She is my. I'll take that back. She's my number 6. So I don't feel so bad.
Yeah. So all right. I want to say 2, but you know what? I'll go with 2. I'll go with my gut. I'll say 2.
I'll go 2. I like your 2.
All right, go ahead.
My number 5, I'm going at actress. A lot of people. Every time I watch a movie, I point her out to everybody, and I think she's an amazing actress that she just doesn't get the credit for. She started the first time I ever saw her was in a TV series by Judd Apatow called Freaks and Geeks, and I think she was hilarious in that. But All of a sudden, she comes back out of nowhere and plays Velma in the Scooby Doo movies. And then to me, I think she's brilliant. She's hilarious. She's got great comedic timing. And then she shows back up in the Marvel movies. I know you don't watch much for Marvel movies still. She plays Ant-Man, or not Ant-Man's wife, but she plays Hawkeye's wife in those movies. My number 5 is Linda Cardellini.
I actually saw the name on the list. So, all right, my number 5. I don't even have a reason why I really put this person on there. Just, it was a tough list. Kind of know the name, and it's one of those names that you like. Okay, I've heard the name. Why have I heard the name? And that's Linda Pearl. I don't know.
I haven't heard the name. You're hearing weird names, brother.
I must be doing the Randy Orton. I'm hearing
voices in your head. Yeah,
exactly. All right, you're number 4.
My number 4. My number 4 has the claim of fame of being a 13-year-old in a horror film. Matter of fact, is in the horror film that my brother has considered to be his favorite movie of all time. So I don't know if that says more about him or the movie. But everybody remembers her being possessed by a spirit and telling her mother many things and a priest many things, and her head spinning around and vomiting pea soup as it was. My number 4 is the actress who played Reagan, Linda Blair. Finally, I get one.
The phrase that pays. My number 4 is, and the thing is, that's another one too, where it's like, okay, I know the name. What movies did I know her from? You started saying that, I'm like, oh, Tim's got this one nailed. But yeah, he really thinks that's her. That's
his favorite movie. That's his favorite.
What's the name of the movie?
The Exorcist.
Yeah, no, I know. What's the name of that movie?
The Exorcist.
Okay, yeah. Exorcist, yeah. All right. Linda Blair is my number 4. All right, you're number 3. So we might get we might get 3 then.
If we might get 3?
Yeah.
All right, my number 3 is another actress. I couldn't have doubled up because I would have had like 3 spots. Another actress, but she's known for her movie roles. But I just watched a series lately on Netflix called Resident Alien, where she plays a general in the military. First time I ever saw her was in a TV show on CBS called Beauty and the Beast. Never watched it. I watched it like briefly in passing.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
But and the funny thing is, she's got a twin sister who used to play her stunt doubles.
Okay.
Stunt doubles in her movies, especially in a movie called Terminator and Terminator 2, and I believe the last one, Genesis, if I'm not mistaken. My number 3 is Sarah Connor herself, Linda Hamilton.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. All right, my number 3. If you read reports, if you believe the reports you read, I should say, this person could now be single. I'm going in the wrestling world, and there's been a lot of backlash and stuff with this family. And like I said, if you read the reports, we might be talking about a divorce coming or already has happened. But my number 3 is the former CEO, I believe was her title until she gave it up.
She was the owner. No, Vince was the CEO. She was the owner.
She was the owner? Okay.
Because of the whole tax things, Vince had to say it off as being the CEO.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And that's one Linda McMahon.
I really wish I had put that on because I'm going to be honest, I forgot about Linda.
Ooh.
I forgot about Linda McMahon. I really did.
Okay.
I don't know.
We might be back to 2 then.
I don't know if Linda Cardellini would have been on my list if I'd have remembered Linda McMahon.
All right. You're number 2.
My number 2. Remember how I made the comment that Ann Wilson to me got the second most pure female voice in music.
Yep.
This one is my number one. She's been out in music because she has strained her vocal cords. Actually, she has frozen vocal cords, so she cannot sing anymore.
Oh,
But to
really?
me, absolutely. If you listen to any of their stuff, anybody listen back in the day said anybody who got out in the 90s would tell you that my number two was the reason why they got into singing. On the female side, my number two is Linda Ronstadt.
Okay. My
close.
number two is a lady who I want to say, without doing research, I believe her daughter is part of Lady A, I think, under a different name. And that is one Linda Davis. I'm almost positive.
I probably.
Yeah. So yeah, my number two is Linda Davis.
Linda Davis. I saw the name. I'm not gonna lie. I saw the name, but
Yeah.
so my number one, huh?
Yep, you're number one.
I'm starting to wonder if you have my number one at this point. My number one. I grew up as a kid, as many of us do, as growing up as kids.
Yep.
I used to watch TV shows, and I grew up watching The Incredible Hulk. But the show that always came on before The Incredible Hulk had a primarily female character. I absolutely, and my wife is going to kill me for saying this, so I absolutely loved the character. I think they've bastardized her character with the last two movies they've done. But
yes, I was right. Okay.
And to believe that you can change your costume just by spinning around, I think a lot more. I think if that were the case, a lot more figure skaters would have changed clothes many times. But my number one is Wonder Woman herself, Linda Carter.
Oh God, I can't believe I forgot that one.
Don't worry, I forgot Linda McMahon. Don't feel bad.
Yeah, but Linda McMahon is nowhere near. Yeah. Dang it. But the phrase that pays comes up in my number one, which I am shocked that the stuff you just told me, because I didn't think that. But my number one is your number two, Linda Ronstadt.
Wow. Bravo.
Yeah, so we got two, and not one of the two I thought we would get.
No, I thought that was. I almost put your wife on the list just to see if you would put her on.
She was 6. I'll give her credit. She was 6.
She was 6, just like my mom was 6.
Yep.
Your wife was 7. So there you go.
All right. So mine. All right. So let's move on to Robert's. This one could have been another one we kind of could have went deep on. Maybe not 10, but we could have done quite a bit. We're not looking so hot. But I gotta go 3. I just think this is we gotta go 3. I think 3 is going to be a good number here.
I think 2, and I kind of have a curveball.
Ooh. All right. Well, then I get to start. So we're going to the movie industry. Music is what I meant to say. Music industry. Man, it's too early for me.
Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it. Don't say it.
I like the guy's music. I don't agree with what he did outside of it.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
But I have to go with him because I just like the genre of music that he typically does. But I'm going with R. Kelly, otherwise known as Robert Kelly.
I don't feel so bad anymore. That was a huge. I could have been. This is another one I could have been writing for days on.
Yeah. All right, you're number 5.
You said music. Well, you originally said movie, so I thought you were coming into my category here. So
okay.
I'm going to go into the movies as an actor, and most people who know a lot of movie actors know my number 5 quite well. He's an old man now who just actually had a kid. I want to say 2 years ago or last year. I think he's in his 70s and just had a kid.
Oh wow,
that should scare a lot of people.
Yeah.
He's much older than we are. I think if you added our ages together, you might get his age.
we should be older than him then. If we...
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think we'd be in our 90s at this point. But everybody remembers, and I'm going to say this very, very. He played in a movie where the guy that I actually know, in Dirty Grandpa, he was actually filmed a scene with a friend of mine.
Really?
Yeah.
That was actually a pretty good movie.
I thought it was really good. But I'm going to be very, very. I'm going to give this the first movie and not the sequel movie, because if I say this wrong, we're getting shut down in a quickness. But the first movie he starred opposite Ben Stiller in Meet the Parents. We understood where I was not going to get caught. To me, I think my favorite movie with him is opposite Al Pacino in a movie called Heat. I love Heat. You will put Heat on, right? And you put Shawshank Redemption and Heat on. I will sit there for days. But my number 5 is one Robert De Niro.
Okay. Kind of thought he'd be a little bit higher, but okay. My number 4 in the sports world is probably top 5 if we say villains.
Roberto Clemente. Cool.
Would be top 5 villains if you're not a fan of this team, just because of his outside influences and the influences they think they have in their sport. We just recently saw him on an episode of The Roast with Tom Brady. And that is one, Robert Kraft.
They could have done so much more. I was really wishing they'd just lay into him. But yeah, I'm gonna say this now. He's dead. I think I'm not gonna say this because it's gonna sound like he's gonna threat. He's dead. No, he's gonna die in the next 2 years. I just to look at him, he's gonna be.
Well, we know who your number 1 pick is in your Deadpool. If those are still around.
No, they are. I'm just trying to remember who mine is.
Oh, you're in one.
Because we have. And the weird thing is, we have one in our house. We have one.
Wow.
I can't remember who mine is. I know who mine is. It's Jimmy Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's lasted a little longer than I expected him to.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you're number 4.
All right, I'm going to stay in the movie world. To me, I think is a million times better actor than my number 5. Everybody remembers him being part of the Brat Pack in the 80s. I think absolutely, and then falls on hard times. If anybody can fall asleep in a 12-year-old's bed naked after a bender and still be able to work in Hollywood after that, it's kind of interesting. Matter of fact, just won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor in Oppenheimer. Talking about a redemption story, I've never heard a redemption story so good as his. I have become a fan again of him. Absolutely brilliant between him playing Tony Stark, playing God, I can't remember his name in Tropic Thunder, but to have him play the role he played in Tropic Thunder, the way he played it, couldn't play right now. Really could not play right now. And especially when he comes up with a line is "You never go full retard," I think is absolutely the most crazy and weirdest line I've ever heard in a movie. My number 4 is Robert Downey Jr.
All right. Another guy I thought would be higher up on your list.
So. Oh, no, he's not up. All
right. The phrase that pays for my number 3 is your number 5, and that is Robert De Niro. I liked. He wasn't. No, I'm going to sound stupid. He was in Rain Man, right?
No, that was Dustin Hoffman.
Oh, that's Hobbit. Okay, because good thing you let out because I was going to say that. But no, yeah, no,
It always works when you let the guy who knows a lot
yeah,
about movies go ahead and
exactly.
just, like, trip
All
it out.
right, you're number 3.
My number 3 comes from we don't go political. We really don't on this show. We try not to.
I mean, we go political to a point to where if the person has to be on that list, I mean, you can't not put them on the list.
You can't put him. You can't not put him on his list. I think we kind of talked about him 2 weeks ago when we were talking about. I think it was about Aaron Rodgers talking about my guy trying to be. He was his kid's birthday.
Yeah.
His kid's birthday. My number 3's kid's birthday was on one of the births that we know wasn't the was it. Yeah, where we were talking about Aaron Rodgers might have been his vice presidential candidate with him. To think that this family has so much power and just have 2 out of the 3 go the way they did is absolutely crazy. I think Sirhan is still alive, if I'm not mistaken. He's the only one out of that group that's still alive between Lee Harvey Oswald, John F. Kennedy, Sirhan, and my number 3. I truthfully think if he had survived, he would have been the next president after his brother. Honestly, I think, and we would have probably never had gotten into Vietnam, or we would have gotten out quicker if we were already there. But my number 3 is Robert Kennedy Jr.'s father, Robert Kennedy, the former Attorney General, matter of fact.
All right, so we're gonna go with the phrase that pays at number 2. Your number 4, Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, I'm not gonna say I would know him from the '80s, but definitely what he's done now and hearing him. I mean, definitely a fan of his. I mean, he's a good actor. I mean, I think like you said, if he didn't get into hard times, and he probably would be up there in a lot more.
He'd have been probably one of the. I think we're talking about him as one of the all-time greats. Yep, I honestly think you saw.
And honestly, he still could for his comeback.
He still can. He's still only 56. Yeah. He could still, and I think we just start seeing some of the stuff. Like if you watched any of it, you've watched Chaplin, or if you watched, what did he do? He did a couple others that to me I think are absolutely brilliant. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang with Val Kilmer, I think is amazing to see. That was his start back into big stuff. So your number 2 is my number 4. So we're gonna go back into my number 2. Here's my curveball. All right. So if we've had this conversation, most people, and I know this isn't where that comes from because the owner of that club has said it does not come from this song. Because I remember having this conversation with one Chris Miller. Where did you come up with the name Night Moves? And he says, I didn't get it from the song. But my number 2 and his Silver Bullet Band had a song called Night Moves. Most kind of a roundabout way is that's where we met was in a teen club called Night Moves in Iron Mountain, Michigan. My number 2 is Bob Seger.
Yep. Nope. That was good memories up at that club. I mean, that was very fun. So we're going back to the phrase that pays. And Tim, like you said, this family has so much power. And that's Robert F. Kennedy. So
I think that's the reason why Arnold Schwarzenegger married into the Shrivers with her being a Kennedy.
Oh yeah. I mean I just don't know how. I mean, granted, I could say that now because we're not growing up in that type of family, but these families that are mega powers, it's just like, man, what would it be like to be in that? Could you handle the publicity, and the pressure? Yeah, exactly. So you're number 1.
My number 1. We don't talk about the Confederacy.
Nope.
They sure do in the South, though. Anybody below the Mason-Dixon line, they do. I'm gonna give the Confederacy and the South a little bit of their due. If they had battled, if they had strategized better, I don't think we got 50 states in the United States. We would have like 40. 40. But my number one is Robert E. Lee.
Gotcha. All right, so we got 3. Not the. Well, I should say not the 3 I got. I thought we would get Kraft in there.
Oh God, no! You're not going to see. I'm a Colts
That's
fan.
right. You're a Colts fan, so you're not putting Kraft out there.
No Patriot, no Robert Edwards, no Robert Kraft. No.
All right, so let's move on to our Susan's category. I'm going to go 2. I could see a possible 4, but I don't know.
I don't think we're going 4.
I
don't get we're going 4.
To me, my number 1 was a lock when we brought this category up.
This is going to be interesting then. And I did not put my aunt on this list. I have an aunt named Sue.
And we should shout out that we want to give a big shout out to Suzanne Barber for her paparazzi jewelry. So check that out. So
exactly,
and a great contestant on You Think You Know.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
All right. So
but my aunt is number 6. So if this gets back to her, she's kind of on the list.
So I say 2. What do you got?
I'll say.
Okay.
I'll say
all
2.
Right. So go ahead.
My number 5. We're going into the acting world, and you're going, really? You're going to put her on number 5? This is. I don't know if when you were a kid and you stayed home sick from school, what was the one thing you always watched on TV?
Price is Right.
Oh, for gosh sake. No, after that.
I don't know.
You didn't watch soap operas. Did you watch soap operas?
I did. Yeah.
What was your favorite soap opera? I watched Days of Our Lives.
I'm going to tell you, if you have her at number 5, you better have a good top 4.
I think my top 3 are good. To think that she got shut out of the daytime Emmys for so long, and then funny thing is I just watched a Instagram short about Jamie Foxx giving this to her at the daytime Emmys, and she has an Italian name, so this is so awesome. My number 5 is from All My Children. Oh yeah, look at that! You can look completely lost. This is awesome. My number 5 is Suzanne Lucci.
All right. Well, you brought up a couple actors or authors. I will bring up one, and I'm not going to say I read her stuff because I don't read, but I just put her on there because I think a couple of lists had her as the number 1 Susan or really? Sue. I'm going to go Susan Grafton.
I did not put her on the list. I saw her, though.
All right. You're number 4.
If I'm not mistaken, my number 4 had one of the highest viewed YouTube videos from Britain's Got Talent in 2009.
Oh, okay.
But then I think all of a sudden she started having a running joke. She became a running joke on Family Guy where her pimple on her butt was this real version of person that was singing for her. I think it's Family Guy. And I think it's hilarious. When I saw the video for the first time, I actually got shivers because I think she has an amazing voice, but again, she's not the most attractive. I'm going to say this now before somebody comes out there saying, "Well, you're not the most attractive person." I'm not even close. My wife will disagree, but my wife's got glasses, so I don't trust her. But not one of the most attractive women, but absolutely has an amazing voice. My number 4 is Susan Boyle.
Yeah, I think it's Family Guy that had done that because I think I've seen that on there a couple times. My number 4, actress, part of probably one of the most iconic families in TV. Outside of that, I don't know if I've seen her in anything else, and I could be wrong. But she plays Cindy in the Brady Bunch, Susan Olsen.
You said my top what had to be really good?
Your top 4 had to have been better than if you had
Susan.
Lucy down on 5.
Okay. So far, I could have probably switched Susan Boyle and Susan Lucci for.
All right.
My number 3. I believe she's a head coach now in the WNBA. She used to be part of the Seattle Storm.
Okay.
To me, I think she's absolutely brilliant. She was an amazing star. I think if I want to say she's at the Las Vegas, she's the head coach for the Las Vegas Aces. I might be completely wrong.
Yeah, because that's the one that our co-host said that it was a new coach of the Raiders.
Did Isaiah say that?
Yeah.
Isaiah said the Jesus Christmas.
Yeah.
To me, I think no. She was the assistant coach under Popovich at
the Spurs. Yeah, on the Spurs.
Right.
And then he said that she became the new coach of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Jeez. Raiders.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's just crazy.
Oh yeah.
She was part. Like I said, she was part of the Seattle Storm.
Yep.
To me, I think absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get nailed for it, and somebody's going to nail me for it. I kind of can figure out who it's going to be. That's going to give me crap, and Callan can come at me all he wants. I think she's better than Diana Taurasi.
He might not disagree with you fully.
I like her. Where's she coach? I just want to make sure I know where she's coaching right now.
Yeah,
she's coaching somewhere.
Yeah, she should be the Aces coach.
Oh, she is the Aces coach. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
She should be.
Yeah. To me, I absolutely have the utmost respect for her. My number 3 is another reason why Susan Lucci is not in my top 3. Is Sue Bird.
No, she's not coaching.
Who did you think I said was coaching?
She's
not coaching? Is she still in San Antonio?
No, you're way off.
Oh boy.
Hold on here. Becky Hammond is the coach.
Oh, Becky Hammond's in.
Yeah.
Okay, so she's not coaching. Is she doing? She's doing.
What's up to these days? She might just taking some time off of there.
Might be a great idea.
Yeah.
But she played the entire career.
She's probably a front office position with the Denver Nuggets right now, supposedly. So
she has joined the ownership group as the Seattle Storm and to own the Seattle Storm.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. So we got another Isaiah comment on our list here. Okay.
What?
All right. So we're at number 3 for me. So my number 3, great actress. For right now, the only I know I've seen her in plenty of films. She was also had a cameo on Friends. The one movie I can think of her in right now is Bull Durham, and I know she's been in a lot more than that I've seen. But that's Suzanne Sarandon.
Susan Sarandon, the one that every time that Suzanne Summers dies, we kept trying to kill that poor woman off.
All right.
Poor woman.
You're number 2.
Poor woman had no chance with you. And you put her at number 3?
Yeah, 3.
Holy smokes. Okay. I know who your number 1 is at this point. My number 2 is we don't go political, but we usually have this comment about you have to be the first. And the first women suffragist. Matter of fact, she's the only woman. She is the first woman. I gotta say first, she's the first woman because Sacagawea will come back from the dead and kill me. Um, she is the first woman to have ever been minted on a coin in the United States. And many people have a lot of those. They like to collect the hell out of those things.
50
But she
cent
was
piece,
the first,
right?
huh?
50 cent piece?
Dollar,
Is it $1? Okay.
$1.
I know my grandma had a few of
My dad had, as we say in the Midwest, a shit ton.
them.
But yeah, but you got to be the first. And when you're first and you led the suffragist movement, you kind of have to be pretty high on the board, a little higher than Susan Lucci, as I'm have to keep defending my pick, but that's cool. My number 2 is Susan B. Anthony.
All right. The phrase that pays at number 2. My number 2 is your number 2. Susan B. Anthony. That was one of the top 2 names I thought of right away. So,
Yeah,
all right, you're
that was
number
a
1.
Well, I've got this woman. She never said the phrase that pays, but I'll say it. It's a phrase that it's the phrase that pays. The movies you're missing are the Rocky Horror Picture Show. She was also in Thelma and Louise with Brad Pitt and Gina Davis. Um, she's done some voice work on Rick and Morty. I'm starting to fall in love back with Rick and Morty for some reason. My number 1 is your number 3. Susan, I'm not Summers Sarandon.
Yeah. No, I know there was a few other ones. There's another one too that I watched quite a bit too with her in it. I just can't think of the name right now. All right, but my number 5 or my number 1, your number 5, the phrase that pays. I had to put Susan Lucci up there. I mean, the girl's done so much. Yeah, I used to watch All My Children quite a bit. Growing up. As a matter of fact, when I drove school bus, we go back to the shop and that was on too, so watched it there.
Wait, you drove school bus?
Yeah, I drove school
You
bus.
know, and that's the funny thing is I've known you for what? And this is crazy. I've known you for
Well, since
30
95-ish.
no, earlier. Because I graduated in 93.
No, I was up in Michigan. I graduated in 97. I was there my uh
So
10th
94?
not my freshman. No, I was there. I was up in Michigan my 90. Yeah, because I came back and I was part of my junior year and senior year in Minnesota here.
So
So I was there
94,
my, yeah, 94,
94,
95.
95. So
Yeah.
30, we've known each other 30 years. And you know the one, and this is and people who know us are going to find this absolutely strange, is I have never seen you drive.
Yep, that is true because we walked around Michigan all the time.
Well, we walk around, and the fact is, either I was the one driving or somebody else was driving.
Yep.
I have
Yep.
never seen you drive a vehicle.
Yep. Nope. Exactly. So yeah, no, it's thank God for Facebook. So yeah, Susan Lucci. Yeah, I watched her so much. I think too at one point on All My Children, she married like every main character and divorced them. I think.
Really?
So, oh yeah. So all right. So let's get into our last category here, and then I have our special list. So we're gonna go Tony's. I did not do Anthony's. I just did strictly Tony's. I don't know.
I did two Anthony's.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. So I get to start.
But how many? How many? I'm dying for this one.
Realistically, I could see all 5. I know it's not going to happen
because I've got Anthony's.
Well, yeah, you got Anthony's. But even before that, I would have said 5. I think we're going to go 3.
I think we're going 1.
Ooh. Going 1. All right. So the over under is 2. All right.
Over under is 2.
All right. So I'm going to go into the fast lane. Speaking of driving,
good start because I don't have one.
Yeah. So I'm going to the fast lane, and again, if you're a racing fan, you probably know this guy. Some of you guys are probably his idolize him. I'm not a big race fan, but when it comes to sports, if somebody says, hey, give me a Tony, he'd probably be one of the top 10, I would say. So Tony Stewart.
Yeah, that was my uncle's. That was my uncle's favorite driver.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
all right, you're number 5.
All right, my brother's gonna love this one because if he's watching, he's gonna know exactly. If he right away, he should know. We'll know if he's watching. He is the guitarist for one of my brother's favorite bands, Black Sabbath. My brother will live and die by this band. I know he's not on your list because that's not a band that you're not really into that type of music, but I kind of know this, and I've had this, and I actually share a birthday with this guy. And I didn't know that until after I had to look it up, and my brother told me, and that's terrible. My number 5 is the lead guitarist for the band Black Sabbath, Tony Iommi.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, you could have told me the name and what he does. Music would have been the last thing I would have said. All right, my number 4. I would consider this guy the GOAT of his sport, possibly the first to do a lot of tricks in this sport. I think he's the only guy to have his name attached to skateboarding video games. I could be wrong on that, but
Yes.
to me, I'm not a skateboarder, but watch what this guy has done. And I think he's still doing it at his age, not maybe as competitive, but if anybody can come up with a better skateboarder than this guy, by all means, let me know. That's one Tony Hawk.
Yeah, you're not going to get that from me. Don't worry about that.
So you're number 4.
I'm going to go number 4. I'm going to go into the movie world. I'm going to tell you right now, both my Anthonys are in the movie world.
Okay,
they're both actors. My number 4 has done the most in this movie / franchise, TV franchise than anybody else in its history. Is known to be actually in the suit. Absolutely crazy. He has voiced this character in the animated series for both the Clone Wars and for Rebels. Has been in the gold suit for C3PO. Has done it for so long, and you actually finally see his face in Revenge of the Sith in one of the bar scenes. My number 4 is Anthony Daniels.
So they actually unmasked 3P or
Yeah, he's actually him and the guy who does the voice for Jar Jar Binks are in the bars in one of the bar scenes in Revenge of the Sith.
But they're not in costume.
Nope, they're in
wow.
they're in the Republic. They're in a Republic military uniforms.
Cool. Yeah. See, after Phantom 1, I didn't watch the rest of them. So, all right. My number 3, to me, top 5 great baseball managers. Right behind Bobby Cox, Torrey. He might even be number 3 because this guy has gone from the teams that the 2 major teams he's coached and took them to titles, and then he took off time and they came back in the White Sox and exploded them. So my number 3 is Tony La Russa.
Tony La Russa. You did go Tony La Russa. That's cool. I thought about that one.
All right, you're number 3.
We'll see how well you stay in the sports world. My number, I'm looking at one in particular.
Yeah, I know you are.
My number 3. I'm going into the music realm. To be absolutely an amazing singer. Just to listen to his voice, it's smooth. I had to double check to make sure this is terrible when I say it out loud. I had to make sure that he was actually dead. And to find out that he died last year on July 21st, 4 days after my birthday. So I feel amazing. And last time he was on stage, I think he did a duet with Lady Gaga. My number 3 is not to be confused with the former UWGB basketball player of the same name. The NCAA head coach now, I believe he is. My number 3 is Tony Bennett.
Wow, I said my number 3. Okay. All right. My number 2. We're going to stay in the sports world.
There you go.
And
there you go.
Come on. If we all watch this show,
there it is.
we know that there was a big miss and swing and miss that I'll never lay down, and I'll make fun of it myself because I'm the one that came up with the category, and I don't know how I missed a guy. But and if you guys watch our show, it was the top outfielders of all time. And for some reason, I did not have this guy on my list. I don't know why, because I must have been just dazed and confused. I don't know. But my number 2 is Mr. Padre himself, Callan's favorite, one of his favorite baseball players of all time, Tony Gwynn.
You didn't disappoint. I gotta admit, you didn't disappoint because I was waiting for it. The only reason why he's so high on my list is I wanted to see if you were going to remember him, because it's the phrase that pays. It's not C2C unless we're sniping. My number 2 is your number 2.
All right. Well, let's stick with the phrase that pays. At my number 1, like you said, probably a very good voice. Definitely one that people when they get into music want to emulate, especially guys. But my number 1 is your number 3, Tony Bennett. All right, so your number 1.
My number 1. Since you did not put any Anthony's on your list, my number 1 is it's still understandable. Has been what has been considered the second most scary villain in movie history. Absolutely, to me, I follow him on Twitter too. He's hilarious. He's absolutely funny. It's crazy, and I think he's on TikTok too, if I'm not mistaken. He's brilliant. He's a treasure, and the world is going to go. And as he likes to say, the world would go absolutely tits up when he passes away. My number 1 is Anthony Hopkins.
Yep. No, that is going to be something. So, where'd you at Tony Romo?
You mean the Wisconsin? No.
Yeah.
No.
I saw some other names. It's like Tony Gonzalez, Tony Romo. Almost like
Tony Parker, Tony Fernandez, Tony.
One that just popped into my head too. Tony Atlas, former
Tony
wrestler.
Saragusa.
Tony Saragusa was another one. So yeah, we could have went on for days for Tony.
Oh gosh, Tony
All
Storm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I got a list here. I had one, but now I can't find it. But I got another one here, almost as good as that one. So this is coming from listverses.com. Top 10 bizarre, forgotten inventions by famous inventors. Number 10, the swim fins. They were invented by Benjamin Franklin.
That doesn't surprise me. Actually, for some reason, I remember that.
All right.
I think those are in the Smithsonian.
Oh, anything by him is most likely in there.
Yeah.
So number 9, the giant crossbow.
That's Da Vinci.
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough to see.
I was wondering if you're gonna get
sketch
that.
for that.
Like
I've seen the sketch. I've seen the
I,
sketch for it.
honestly,
And the
I haven't even
helicopter.
looked at this list either. I just looked at the first one.
And the helicopter. I've seen the sketches for both of those.
All right. So the metal detector.
Metal detector. Who would have done the metal detector? That sounds like something. No, that sounds like something Edison did.
Nope. Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh yeah, because he dealt with a lot of magnets. Yeah, that's about right.
The automatic boat. Nikolai Tesla.
Yeah, I didn't know that one.
Yeah. The copier.
The copier was that. That's not. Oh, was that Kodak?
No, James Watt.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Soda water.
Soda water.
This is at number 5.
Soda water was that. I have no clue.
Joseph Pesley. All right.
No.
Number 4, the bullion cube.
The bullion cube. That sounds like something that. Kellogg.
Justus von Liebig.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. The life table.
The light table.
Life. Life.
Oh, life table. Nope.
I don't know what the hell the life table is.
Nope.
That is Edmund Haley.
Oh, okay.
Holly. Yeah. I'm going to have to look up the light table. Okay. The electric piano at number 2.
That's Marconi?
No. Walter Nersted. Nernst.
Nope.
The talking doll.
Oh my gosh. That's older. That I have that feeling. What is that? That's
1988 it came out.
What was it? 88?
1888. I'm sorry. 1888.
1888. Who's inventing stuff in the 88s? That was oh, for God's sake. You're gonna say it and I'm gonna be pissed.
You are going to be pissed.
Oh golly, who was it?
I know he's been on a couple of our lists, I think.
I can't remember.
The talented inventor of Thomas Edison.
Good Lord.
Yeah,
Oh God.
those are the top 10 items that are invented by people that are forgotten inventions by famous inventors.
Wow, 1888.
Yeah.
Holy
cow. All right, with that being said, Tim, final thoughts.
It was I love all these new ones that we're doing. I'm currently working on one for next week that's kind of a little based on this, but not quite so much based on it. It's funny that I happened to look at the list and I'm going, 4 of the people on this list that actually have names of family members.
Yep.
Because my Aunt Sue, my mom's Linda, your wife's Linda. My brother-in-law's first name is Anthony. His last name is Roberts.
Yep.
And I looked at that and went, holy crap, did I screw that one up? And I have a cousin named Ann. So actually I'm looking at 5. Who did I miss at this point? What was our other one? Stephen?
Yeah.
I probably have somebody named Stephen in my family, but it just happened to come up. Absolutely. I love these things because it's crazy. We didn't, and the thing is, today wasn't a sniping day. Today seemed like we missed everything.
We sniped at the end there. You got in your roll of sniping. 1 0 for 5er, a couple 3 for 5s. So yeah. So with that being said, tonight, Sportsman is on. Last night, the guys, Callan and James, did their C2C night show. C2C at night, I think it's called. Tomorrow, hopefully, we get kicking it back out with our favorite 10 minutes of fun. Definitely get that.
He's not saying that the other 50 minutes of it isn't fun, but
yeah, the last 10 is worth the admission.
It's worth the admission.
Yeah, but and then we got on deck, we got entertainment hour. We'll probably I gotta get with the guys here on morning tailgate and see if we're gonna break down the NFL schedule one of these days.
Whatever. I'm up for everything.
Yeah, but you're just not up at the time we could do it.
Right.
So, maybe honestly, maybe we do that for a Rankem show here. Just break down the schedule. I don't know, but yeah, we got some good things coming on. Keep checking us out. Oregon Cougars football when they're at home. J-Mac and the crew will be breaking down and live coverage of that game. Outside of that, we'll see y'all next week on C2C Rankem. Have a good one.